You smiled at a stranger today. Maybe you held the door open. Maybe you handed your phone to someone whose name you do not know. You did not think twice. And that instinct, that quiet automatic trust, is one of the strangest things about you. Because almost none of these people have ever given you a reason to trust them. So why do you? The answer goes back much further than kindness or manners. It goes back to a moment when trusting a stranger was not a social grace. It was a survival strategy. For most of human existence, you did not meet strangers. Your world was 30 to 50 people. You knew their faces. You knew who lied and who shared. Trust was not something you extended. It was something you already knew. Then something changed. Around 70,000 years ago, something happened inside the human brain. Researchers call it the cognitive revolution. Yuval Noah Harari describes it as the moment humans gained the ability to believe in shared fictions. And one of those fictions was the idea that a stranger could be trusted. Think about what that took. To look at a face you had never seen and decide without evidence that this person was probably safe. That is not logic. That is a leap. And it changed everything. When you trust a stranger, you can trade. When you trade, you specialize. When you specialize, communities grow. One group learns to preserve fish. Another reads the stars. A third forges iron. None could discover all three alone. But trust made exchange possible, and the entire architecture of civilization was built on that one improbable decision. So your brain was shaped for it. Evolution selected for the trusting ones. Not because trust is always safe, it is not, but because groups that trusted each other survived longer, and their children carried that tendency forward, right down to you. But your trust is not random. It is patterned, and the patterns are ancient. Psychologist Paul Bloom at Yale found that babies as young as 6 months old prefer puppets that help others over puppets that hinder. No one taught them that. Something inside them already leaned toward the cooperator. That instinct is in you too. When you meet someone new, your brain runs a very fast, very old calculation. It reads their face. It measures their posture. It listens to the rhythm of their voice. And in under a tenth of a second, before any conscious thought, your brain has already decided, friend or threat. Alexander Todorov at Princeton showed that trustworthiness judgments happen in under 100 milliseconds. Before you blink, before you breathe. The verdict is already in, and most of the time, your brain says trust. Because historically, the cost of false distrust was higher than the cost of false trust. Refuse to trust and you miss trade, alliance, information. The suspicious loner did not thrive. Over generations, the trusting genes spread. The isolating ones faded. You are the descendant of the trusting ones. But the world your trust evolved for no longer exists. In the ancestral environment, a stranger was rare and significant. Today, you pass hundreds before finishing your morning coffee. You give your credit card to companies in other countries. You follow advice from voices on a screen. Your trust instinct was built for a world of dozens. It is now operating in a world of billions. Robin Dunbar, the anthropologist behind the famous 150 relationship limit, has shown that the human brain was built to track roughly that many meaningful social bonds. Everyone beyond that number is, neurologically, a stranger. And yet you trust institutions, platforms, and systems involving millions of people in ways your brain was never designed to evaluate. You are not naive. You are ancient. You are running hardware built for a very different world. So the next time you feel that warm pull towards someone you just met, recognize it. It is not a flaw. It is one of the most sophisticated social instruments evolution ever produced. It built cities, science, and everything you depend on to stay alive. It just was not built for this. The stranger who smiled at you this morning did not earn that trust. They inherited it, just like you did, from ancestors who looked at an unknown face and decided, against all logic, to give them a chance. Tonight, you will probably trust a stranger again. You will not notice. You never do. But now you know where that feeling comes from and how far back it goes.